BEEX project is a no-profit foundation about visual art and photography. If you want to help us, just drop a donation on buymeacoffee.com/BerlinExplorer. So welcome to 50 Minutes of Experience, and today I'm with Anna Hinkov, as a friend of Berlin, and we met in the meetup we are doing. So welcome, Anna.
Hi, thank you so much for having me here.
It's nice to have you. And if you have heard some podcasts before, it will be nice if you can introduce a bit who you are, where you come from, blah, blah, blah. And then we go talk a bit more.
Okay, so hi, I'm Anna. I'm originally from Bucharest, from Romania, but I just moved 1 year ago in Berlin to study. I'm studying law. I'm 19 years old, almost 20. So yeah. And yeah, I met Emiliano in the meetup because when I moved, I knew basically nobody. And I found the meetup and the photography walk. And I just tagged along. I think I was in the first meetings, one of the first, like some of the first people there. Yeah, and I've tagged along ever since, on and off, because I've been going from Berlin to Bucharest as much as I could. So it was weird and a bit hard to coordinate it, but as much as I could, I came there. And I've seen a lot, I've met a lot of amazing people and amazing photographs, and photographers, of course. And yeah, do you want me to say a bit about how I started with photography?
Yeah, it will be nice if you can also say something about you personal.
Yeah, I started with photography when I was about 15 or 16 years old. I was always raised around cameras. Both my parents are photographers. My dad does it as a hobby. He photographs aviation, and my mom does it for her journalism. And yeah, I've always grew up around cameras. So at 15, 16 years old, I found it interesting, and I just picked one up and started shooting away without having any idea how it works. And yeah, I kind of stole it. No, I borrowed it from my dad. And I started shooting. I took it with me in school and just took photos of whatever I found interesting without even knowing anything about composition or the techniques. And when my parents saw that I was very interested in that, of course, they tried telling me and showing me a few things, but they thought it would be beneficial if I went into a summer camp just dedicated to photography. And that's where I actually learned the way you handle a camera and the way you can put in the settings. And ever since then, I've been inseparable from my camera. I've always took it with me in my backpack. Everywhere I went, not just school, but also like traveling. And yeah, and coming to Berlin, it just was by my side every day, and I took photos every day, mostly street photography. I've also dabbled into portraiture. But yeah, I started that with my sister. She was my model. She kind of grew sick of it by the end, but it's fine. She has very nice pictures of herself now. Yeah, but mostly street photo and just documenting my life. So that's how I started.
That's nice. So yeah, I know a bit more about your pictures and who you are, how you are, and so on. And today I want to ask you some stuff about what are the experience you will love to doing in photography. How did you manage that, and yeah, what would you expect to see or to do in the future?
So my experience in photography, I've always been very, very fascinated by history, and by the way you can document different things through history, and how you can find nowadays different artifacts from 100 years ago. And I've always seen this opportunity in photography, in documenting the so-called mundane things, which in 100 years could be so interesting to somebody. And for me, there's this story of Vivian Meyer. She's a photographer. I mean, she wasn't a photographer at its core. She was a nanny in the 60s or 50s, and she always took photos on film, and her work was only discovered after she died, so she never published something during her lifespan. And I found that so interesting, that you can find something from 60, 50 years ago and give it new meaning after somebody's dead. What I also can say about my experience in photography, I've always had this fear of forgetting, of memory loss. I was so scared of forgetting something in my life that I always wanted to take a picture of it, or I tried journaling and writing it down, but that wasn't my main way of experiencing things. I was more of a visual person, always have been. And that's what I try doing with my photography, just showing basic things like small everyday captures what you see, and maybe you pass by something and you don't find it interesting. I just like to capture that so that in a few years I can look back and see the way I lived my life, and not only me, but maybe somebody else can find my pictures after I die. I don't know if that's a weird thought, but that's always what I do. I mean,
Probably someone can find your picture still when you are alive.
yes, but I found it. Yeah, of course. But it's also very fun to think about it. Maybe in 200 years, somebody just finds something that I printed out, or something that anybody has printed out, and imagines the way life was today. That's what it was for me.
For sure, will it happen? We are overwhelmed of content.
Of course, yeah.
Stuff everywhere. We have a lot of material stuff, and for sure, someone else will find out something. The point is, in a way, we are losing totally the connection with the material stuff.
Do you mean the material photographs?
Everything is material. It's not about photography in general, and we are. I said no, overwhelmed of this object and material stuff, so we cannot really, in a way, focus on the value of them, because really take a lot of time. This is the point. I mean, today it's more and more easy, much more easy to find print or mark and so on, a postcard. They are older, vintage, and you can see, in Berlin, for example, you go in the market and you find out there are thousands of photography there. And this is one of the points. When you have thousands of stuff, the research is much more difficult than searching in hundreds of stuff. So, and for sure, probably we have to start to think the way we create material things and how we can create some material things that make the difference instead of other. It's the same in the digital communication. We are 1,000 million billion of people. They can communicate good, but who stand up is someone in the end scream, or has more possibilities or different ways to scream in this crowded place, So the difference is how we get in touch with the life, with the people, with material. And that's why I'm also doing this podcast, because in a way this is what make the difference to today. That we are overwhelmed of really beautiful images. It's more difficult now to find a really bad picture. I mean, in sense of aesthetics. And when the aesthetics take this standard of a beautiful structure, it's then important also to understand what is behind this beautiful structure. What touch us and why that picture touch us.
Mm-hmm.
Not just to feed our downtime where we don't have nothing to do and then we just scroll our Instagram and fuck on, you know. So it's
Of
really important
course.
to understand also, okay, what are the images remain inside of our mind? What are the images remain in your mind?
What are my images? The ones that
Yeah.
remain in my mind. Not my images. You mean the images I see?
I mean, many images. It's not about you.
It's mostly, I think, the images that show me that something simple can be interesting, or images that have a strong message, political message, probably something that I wouldn't see probably in Berlin. Something, the images for that show some type of emotion too, like something raw. If I can feel something from an image, that's what then stays with me. Like if I think about that image for like a day after, and especially as you said, there are so many images, it's hard to like remember all of them because there's so many and there's always something new that can excite you or something. If an image stays with me and provokes some type of emotion in me, then that's important, and I find it beautiful.
And
But I also, what?
you feel now that it's always much more difficult to get in touch with something.
Yes, nowadays especially, and that's why I find it so interesting when one image can provoke such a feeling for me. But I also think, I mean, you said you have to explore the connection between the viewer and the image itself, but I also see photography as something more personal than that. I mean, for me, it's mostly of the image and the connection to me taking the image. Does
Yeah,
it make sense?
that's sure.
I mean, I see my photography as something more personal than just showing people my beautiful image, because that's not my goal. That's not why I post them online. I mean, it's a funny story why I post them online. It's because 2 years ago, I tried copying all my images from my phone to my computer, and I lost all of them, like images from an entire year, all gone. And I know you went through something like that too recently, right? And
Yeah.
that was so heartbreaking for me that I lost an entire year of images, that I decided maybe I'll just put them in multiple places and somehow I'll have some of them. But for me, my photography is something just some type of journal for myself. My goal isn't to get the 10,000 likes or have people, maybe if it changes something in how people view us.
Will you be not happy if you receive 10,000 likes?
I'm happy, but that's not my main goal. That's not why I
Yeah, I
do
mean,
it.
it's for sure it's not the main goal. I understood, but yeah,
But
probably.
yeah, that's what I mean. My connection to photography is way more personal than
I mean, if
that.
you wanted to doing the archive, you could do it the archive also in Google Drive and don't show the picture.
I've tried that too, and that's how I lost. That's what I mean.
I mean, yeah, I mean, there are many ways you can also go in a community are less people, but yeah, the point is exactly this is what I wanted to say. It's for sure it's a personal things, but everything is personal. In our case, sometimes we don't see the connection is that this invisible connection we have with others, because if only we think about women. So the point is exactly this: is you don't make the film by yourself, you don't make the camera by yourself. Even if you do it a pinhole, use a film someone else created, and there is a connection between you and the person who created the camera, created the system, and so on, and between you and what you see in the world. There is a connection with something or someone or a period. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of connections, invisible. And then yeah, even if it's personal, our frame, when we share this frame, then the frame is not our personal point of view, but become the point of view or many point of view from others' eyes and vision. And that's great in a way or another. Not anymore this feeling of to being in a personal frame.
Yeah, no, I agree. I never thought of it. I mean, I never thought of the connection between the person that makes the camera in the film and the photographer himself or herself. But I agree. Even though this is a personal thing for me, even though it's a personal process, the moment I post it somewhere, it may speak to one more person or two more people or three more people. And what a friend of mine told me yesterday about a photo I took of her, she said, this photo makes me feel some type of way that I've never felt before. And I love that, love the feedback she gave me. That was a deeper connection between the two of us, which is exactly what you say. Like if something speaks to somebody, it creates a connection. But I think, and I find it beautiful that there are so many connections in this world. We are interconnected by the social media anyways. Like we have a connection to basically anybody at this point. But I find it really interesting that you can do that through a single image. And it's something that, I mean, if I wouldn't have taken photos myself, I wouldn't have thought of the fact that I am connected to this stranger through a single photo if I just see a photo, you know what I mean? Yeah, which is very interesting.
Yeah. So, what do you think, in a way or another, what make able to your vision photography? I mean, there is a moment in your life that you understood that if you was not doing that things with that tool, you could not be able to doing some stuff, some experience.
You mean?
I mean,
could you?
there is an experience, and there is some experience you did in your life that was exactly because you started to take pictures and not you realized that you couldn't do it without that tool.
Without pictures. It's, I mean, I don't think there's a specific experience, like one single experience that I can pinpoint that wouldn't have been possible without me taking pictures. But without me, I mean, if I had never taken pictures, I wouldn't have met such amazing people that somehow show me different types of living. Like I met people through my photography. I met, and it's not just other photographers, it's people on the street that I asked to photograph. And then we started talking and we met, and that's how I met some of my good friends. And I don't know if I could have met them or had this experience with them without photography. But other than that, I don't think there's one single, like, for instance, a trip that I couldn't have gone on without taking photos. Like, yeah. Photography has always been an addition to my life. It's an amazing addition. I always see pictures in my mind, even if I don't have a camera although it happens rarely that I don't have a camera with me.
Yeah.
Because we always have a phone, right? Which is the most convenient camera nowadays.
The camera. I mean, it's a tool. It's another tool.
It's a tool. Sorry, tool.
Yeah.
And yeah, but the only experiences are me meeting other people, which broadened my horizons somehow. Yeah.
Okay. So thank you a lot, Anna, for your time.
Thank you so much for the questions. It's a very nice insight. And
I will go a bit more inside, but I will reserve for next time.
Oh, gladly.
And if anyone wants to see the picture of Anna, could go in the link in the description. And if you want, you can also comment this podcast with the voice message using the last link in the description. And thank you a lot again.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. Learn more about our project at allmylinks.com/Berlin Explorer or visit our Instagram and follow Berlin Explorer Project.